The train to Evermore. Echoes on the tracks. The whistle's echo faded slowly as the train gathered speed, its wheels clicking rhythmically on the rails. The velvet seats cradled me, and the soft golden light inside the car wrapped around us like a gentle memory. Outside, the windows flickered with scenes from my past, moments I hadn't thought about in years, now dancing just beyond reach. I glanced at May and Victor. Their faces were a mix of wonder and unease, mirroring my own feelings. What was this place? A journey through time, or a journey through ourselves? May broke the silence. "Do you remember that summer by Miller's Pond?" Her voice was soft, almost hesitant. I nodded. The summer before college. We swore nothing would ever change. Victor chuckled, a sound filled with both nostalgia and regret. We were so sure we knew everything. The train rattled on, and the memories behind the glass shifted. There was my old dog, chasing a ball in slow motion. The laughter of a younger version of Victor echoed faintly. And there, a flash, the tiny diner where May and I shared our first coffee. I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of years and choices. This train was not just carrying us along tracks. It was carrying the fragments of our lives, the roads we took and those we left behind. Suddenly, the car jolted. The lights dimmed for a moment, and a new scene appeared. A shadowy figure standing at a crossroads, holding a letter. The letter fluttered in the wind, almost like a message waiting to be read. May's voice was barely a whisper. "I never sent that letter." Victor looked at her, eyes wide. "Which letter?" She glanced away, then back at me. "The one I wrote to you, John. The one I never gave you." My heart thudded. I remembered the silence that had stretched between us for decades, the unanswered questions, the goodbyes never said. The train's warm light pulsed gently as the windows showed more fragments, moments where life had taken unexpected turns, moments filled with regret and hope intertwined. We were traveling through our memories, through time, through ourselves, and somehow I knew this journey was just beginning. The train hummed beneath us, its steady rhythm matching the pulse of memories swirling in my mind. Outside the window, the world dissolved and reformed, not in the ordinary flow of time, but in fragmented flashes of the past, vivid and surreal. I looked at May. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears as she stared at the scenes flickering outside, a younger version of herself riding her bike, laughter echoing in the summer air. Victor sat quietly, his jaw clenched, lost in thoughts I could only guess at. I gripped the armrest, trying to anchor myself. The air inside the car was warm and thick with nostalgia, yet there was an unmistakable undercurrent of something heavier. Regret, maybe, or unfinished business. May's voice broke the silence. "I never told you about the letter." I swallowed hard. "What letter?" She hesitated. "The one I wrote before I left town, the one I never sent." Victor turned sharply to her, his expression tense. "Why not?" She looked away, a shadow crossing her face. I was scared. I didn't know if you want to hear from me after all these years. I felt a lump in my throat. I'd spent decades wondering if I'd ever get closure, if our story was truly over. Outside, the train windows blurred into scenes from our youth, the dusty baseball field where we played endless games, the diner where May and I shared secret smiles, the old bridge we swore we'd never cross again. The shadows lengthened, and the car grew quieter. The flickering images seemed to pulse with a life of their own. Victor finally spoke. "Maybe this train brought us here for a reason." I nodded slowly. Maybe it's time to face those moments, the ones we left behind. May reached over and took my hand, her touch warm and steady. We have a chance now to say what was never said. The train lurched again and the windows flickered, revealing a crossroads bathed in twilight. On one path stood a shadowy figure holding an envelope, the letter May had never sent. I felt a sudden resolve tighten inside me. This journey wasn't just about revisiting the past. It was about healing, forgiveness, letting go. The train whispered forward, carrying us deeper into the echoes on the tracks. The train continued its steady hum as the landscape outside the windows morphed again. The memories playing like old film reels were no longer just flashes. They felt alive, tangible. It was as if the train was a vessel carrying us not just through space, but through the intricate layers of our shared past. I glanced over at Victor. He looked distant, staring at the flickering images as if searching for something lost. His fingers tapped nervously against the armrest. I remembered how different he was back in school. Always the prankster, always the loudest in the room. Now, years later, I saw a quiet man haunted by his own regrets. May's hand squeezed mine softly, grounding me. "I've thought about that letter every day," she said quietly. "Every day since I left." "What was in it?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated, swallowing. "I wrote about us, about what I felt, what I wished had been different. I wanted to tell you I was sorry." I nodded slowly, feeling the weight of her words. "I've carried my own apologies, May." The train car grew silent, except for the rhythmic clatter of the wheels on the track. Victor finally spoke, breaking the silence with a low voice. "We all have things we never said, things we wish we could change." The flickering memories outside shifted again, now showing a younger version of me standing awkwardly by the riverside, struggling to express feelings I didn't have the courage to voice. Beside me, a young May smiled, but her eyes held a sadness that mirrored my own. "Do you think this train can change anything?" Victor asked, his eyes searching ours. I thought for a moment, maybe it's not about changing the past. Maybe it's about understanding it, accepting it. May looked out the window, tears glistening. I've imagined what it would be like to go back, to say goodbye properly, to tell you how much you meant to me. Her voice cracked, and I squeezed her hand tighter. "Maybe this is our chance," I said softly. The train slowed as we approached a small station, one that neither of us recognized, yet felt strangely familiar. The doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a platform bathed in golden light. A single figure stood there, a man in his 20s, holding a letter in his hand. My heart skipped. "Is that me?" I whispered. May nodded, tears streaming freely now. Victor stood and stretched. "Looks like we're meant to step off here." I swallowed hard and stood, feeling the weight of every moment I'd ever left unsaid. We stepped onto platform, the air thick with possibility. The young man looked up, his eyes searching mine. "Dad," he asked. The morning light felt different that day. The way it filtered through the glass windows of the Evermore carriage made every speck of dust look like a dancing star. I pressed my palm against the cool pane, watching the mist lift slowly beyond the tracks, revealing shapes I hadn't expected. Victor was staring out the opposite window, his jaw tight, eyes reflecting some memory he wasn't ready to share. May sat quietly beside me, her fingers intertwined with mine, but even her calm seemed fragile, like a candle about to flicker. Our journey had begun, but the path was not as simple as I had hoped. The train rolled on through landscapes that seemed stitched together from dreams. Fields of wildflowers shimmering under an unseen sun, forests where every tree was a monument of forgotten days, and towns with faces frozen in sepia tones. Time inside the train was slippery. Minutes could stretch into hours or snap by in seconds. I lost count of how many times I glanced at my watch, only to find it was the same hour as before, 9:12. Then came the announcement over the crackling speaker, a voice from another era. Next stop, Willowbrook. All aboard. Willowbrook. I didn't recognize the name, but something stirred deep inside me. The doors hissed open and a breeze swept in, carrying with it the faint scent of pine and rain. We stepped out onto the platform, a place both foreign and familiar. The air was thick with silence and possibility. There, waiting under an ancient oak, was a man I hadn't seen since childhood. My father. His eyes were the same as I remembered, full of kindness, shadowed by regrets. "John," he said softly, "you came." I didn't know what to say. Years of distance, of cold goodbyes, all crumbled in that moment. I swallowed hard, the lump in my throat heavy. "Why am I here?" I finally whispered. He smiled, a sad smile. "To forgive, to remember, to heal." The train waited for us, but I wasn't ready to board. I walked with my father beneath the oak's branches, each step a passage through memory and time. We spoke of things left unsaid, of love lost and found, of mistakes we both wish we could undo. May and Victor gave us space, their own journeys unfolding in silent understanding. That day, the train to Evermore was more than a passage through time. It was a reckoning, a chance to face shadows, to find light in places long thought dark. And I knew, no matter what lay ahead, this ride was changing me forever. To be continued.